please give a warm round of applause for Mr. Otis Davenport. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the historic Lincoln Theater for the 14th Annual Legends and Legacies Awards Ceremony. Please welcome to the stage WBNS 10 TV news anchor, Yolanda Harris.
Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing this evening? Great? Good. It's so good to be out and about, even with our masks on. So if you need to fan yourself, if you get hot, feel free to do it. I just want to say good evening and welcome to the King Arts Complex 14th Annual Legends and Legacies Awards Ceremony honoring Ann and Ron Pizzuti. I'm Yolanda Harris from 10 TV, and I'm so happy to be here for the first time hosting this event today. Oh, there's my former coworker, Carol Looper. Carol's everywhere. She's out and about. Love it. Legends and Legacies recognizes the rich and diverse contributions of individuals who have shown their commitment to human rights, artistic excellence, and service. Their actions have influenced and impacted their community, city, state, nation through philanthropy, service, leadership, creativity, and vision. Throughout the evening, you will learn more about their storied careers, and it will become quite obvious why they were selected as the 2021 Legends and Legacies honorees. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke these words in regard to humanity, saying, quote, "An individual has not started living until they can rise above the narrow confines of their individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity," end quote. I think it is safe to say that tonight's honorees exemplify the words of Dr. King, and they are inspiring others to serve as they lead by example. Our honorees, Ann and Ron Pizzuti, are ranked by Art News among the world's top 200 collectors, and they have amassed a truly legendary contemporary art collection. In donating the Pizzuti collection to the Columbus Museum of Art, they have created a legacy that will endure for decades to come. Next, please join me in welcoming to the stage Ms. Alicia Brose, Chairwoman of the King Arts Complex Board of Trustees. So let's please give her a big round of applause.
Good evening. On behalf of the King Arts Complex Board of Trustees, staff, and volunteers, welcome to the 14th Annual Legends and Legacies Awards Ceremony. We would like to thank you all for joining us tonight. Tonight, we are excited to honor Ann and Ron Pizzuti. They set out to foster cultural understanding and educational exchange by championing a diversity of voices from around the globe with the Pizzuti collection. We believe they have accomplished that goal. We also thank them for their past, current, and future support of the King Arts Complex. Before we begin our recognition of our two distinguished honorees, we wish to thank our sponsors. First, please join me in thanking our honorary co-chairs, Monica and Doug Kreidler, and Elaine and Kurt Moody. We also thank the entire Legends and Legacies host committee, whose names are listed in the program and scrolling on the screen behind me. We also thank our corporate sponsors, premier sponsors, the Legends and Legacies Host Committee, platinum sponsors, American Electric Power, Bath and Body Works, Huntington Bank, and Ann and Ron Pizzuti. Diamond sponsors, Encova Insurance, Greenberg Traurig, Honda, Kelly Companies, and Park National Bank. Media sponsor, Columbus Business First. In addition, there is a host of gold sponsors and event sponsors who have supported tonight's event. They are listed in the program and were recognized on the rolling screen as you were being seated. Please join me in thanking all of these wonderful sponsors for making tonight possible. Before we bring our honorees and moderator to the stage, please welcome back to the stage our host for the evening, Yolanda Harris.
Thank you, Alicia. Let's give her another big round of applause, why don't we? At this time, please welcome to the stage a very familiar face, Mayor Andrew Ginther. Please welcome him to the stage with a big round of applause. He will be coming up for a special acknowledgement for our honorees. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Yolanda, and what a great night here in the city of Columbus, of one of our great theaters and venues to celebrate two legends and legacies in Ron and Ann Pizzuti. I want to thank the King Arts Complex, the entire team, for all their work to help to pay tribute to two extraordinary leaders in our community. Ron and Ann have done so much around Columbus and left such an imprint on our quality of life in so many different ways. I always talk about the Pizzuti way. It wasn't enough for them to put together one of the greatest collections in the entire world, but to make it available and accessible to all of our neighbors, particularly our young people. That's the Pizzuti way. Investing in the next generation is what makes Ron and Ann so special. Ranked by Art News as among the world's top 200 collectors, they've amassed a truly legendary contemporary art collection, creating a legacy that will endure for decades to come. Through the Pizzuti collection, Ann and Ron have been working to foster cultural understanding and educational exchange by championing a diversity of voices from around the globe. We know that when an artist's work is acquired by the Pizzutis, people in the art world take notice. Their support of African, Afro-Cuban, and African-American work has been a blessing to the Black artists who make a living through the creation of art. And not only have they been huge supporters of the arts, Ann and Ron have given their time and talents to multiple boards and commissions around Ohio throughout the years. Legends and Legacies pays tribute to local, regional, and national individuals who have shown a commitment to freedom through social justice, human rights, cultural democracy, artistic excellence, and service. I can't think of another couple who embodies these characteristics more. Your commitment to your profession, to your community, have benefited Central Ohio and its residents in ways that will ripple across this city's history for all years to come. I do have a commendation from the city that I'll bring down and present to you all, but to Ron and Ann, thank you all for all of your incredible service.
Thank you very much, Mayor Ginther. Before we go any further, please direct your attention to the screen because there are some people who would like to recognize our honorees this evening, so enjoy.
Ron and Ann don't just build buildings, they build cultures.
Columbus is replete with servant leaders. people who lead by example, leaders who serve their community. And Ron and Ann typify the servant leader, particularly in the arts space.
They've always set a great example for how to live one's life, make thoughtful decisions, and to be a part of a community.
From the outset, they were committed to community, to make Columbus a better, stronger, more lively place to live, a community that was more caring about its population and more concerned about everyone's well-being.
The city's been really, really good to him. So in his mind, as long as I can remember, he's always said it's important for us to give back, to appreciate what we've been given, appreciate the opportunities we've had, but also give back. And I think he and my mother have both exemplified that approach throughout their lives.
You can't be an effective leader in our community and not be advised by Ann and Ron Pizzuti.
The Pizzutis have been longtime champions of not only Columbus, but specifically nonprofits in Columbus, from the King Arts Complex and the Lincoln Theater, the Columbus Museum of Art, the Wexner Center for the Arts. The list is long, and none of those organizations would be where they are without Ron and Ann Pizzuti.
I don't think there's a single arts institution in the city that they haven't touched in one way or another.
You don't find too many husband and wife partners that are in so many other organizations outside of their own potential focus.
From the arts to architecture, from human services to philanthropy to family to sports, all with an eye for quality and equality that distinguishes them, but also has distinguished us as a community.
I don't think it gets any more important than that to a community to be engaged in education and children.
Ann and Ron both do things in a high-quality way. They have extended themselves and made the community a better place for all of us.
My parents have been interested in art and have collected art. It started when we were very young, and my parents were very young. They were newly married, and my father had been traveling around the world for his job, and started to be exposed to art.
When they opened the facility in the short north, it was really a great contribution to the community and consistent with Ron and Ann's philosophy. They wanted to give something to the community to benefit the community and to make Central Ohio a better place.
They're immediately recognized as one of the giants in design and art in the nation, and they're doing it right here in the city of Columbus.
You just only have to look around our own city to see a really good sign of it, a really good telltale of the evidence. Between their contributions to and support of the Columbus Museum of Art, the Pizzuti collection, established as a standalone collection and then donated to the Art Museum, and even just in their own home. It's a museum in its own right, just full of really spectacular works of art.
They have enriched our lives and helped us grow the Columbus art scene by sharing their Pizzuti collection with us.
So much of their art collection honors African-American artists.
When I think about the Pizzutis, I think about their embracing and commitment to championing artists of color long before many organizations in Columbus or really in the United States were doing that.
The two of you have been such leaders in this community and across this country in the collecting of Black contemporary art.
Everything Ron and Ann collect is done with passion, with knowledge, with a lot of exposure.
Beyond Ron's incredible eye is really his ongoing commitment to discovering what's new, finding fresh and diverse voices, and presenting a truly global perspective of art in Columbus, which is something that historically hasn't been done and really has never been done at the level that Ron and Ann have contributed.
We talk about what makes this community great, and it's truly the people. When you think about Ron and Ann Pizzuti and the contributions they've made to this community with their time, their talent, and their treasure, they've been very generous. And so I think they are perfect recipients of the Legends and Legacy Award because of their consistent philanthropy and their consistent contributions to make Central Ohio and the city of Columbus a much better place for all of us to live, work, and raise our families.
What a wonderful, wonderful tribute to the Pizzutis. And it's so amazing when you see them as a couple working together, doing their philanthropy together, and sharing with the community. And it's nice to, I guess, talk about people while they're still here and tell them, you know, how grateful the community is for them and how their work is appreciated. And a lot of times, you know, we don't do that. So this is a wonderful occasion to be able to do that. So a big thank you to everyone involved with the video. It was absolutely wonderful. I hope all of you enjoyed it as well. I think the testimonies that we just witnessed made it clear why we're honoring this power couple. They are etching their journeys onto the pages of history. They are doing that together and in a wonderful way. Well, now we will introduce our 2021 Legends and Legacies honorees. Please welcome to the stage, Ann and Ron Pizzuti.
She's tall.
When I saw him backstage, he said, "I thought you were a lot shorter than that." I was like, "It's the hills. It's the hills." Oh, they're adorable, aren't they? They really are. Just a beautiful couple. Really are. Our moderator for tonight's fireside chat is Deidre Hamlar. She is a lawyer, arts administrator, artist representative, and independent curator. She has consulted with the Columbus Museum of Art since 2018 to assist with the Amina Robinson estate. She was recently appointed as director of the museum's Amina Robinson Legacy Project. So let's please give a very, very warm welcome for Ms. Deidre Hamlar.
Uh-oh.
We can adapt, right, to anything. Right. Ann and Ron, congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. I mean, we've met on a few occasions, but I want to say it's a true honor to be here on stage with you today because I believe you are true legends for our community, and I look forward to the question and answer opportunity with you today to delve into a little bit of what makes Ann and Ron Pizzuti a treasure for our community. So thank you. So let's begin. A question for both of you, and maybe I'm looking at you, Ann. How can you please share with us where you were born, where you went to school, and how you met?
Oh, boy.
Are the mics on? Yes.
Your mic is on.
Okay. Well, I was born in Hannibal, Missouri, which is where both my mother and father's families settled as they got older and so forth. And then my dad was a career Air Force officer, so we moved around a lot of times. I was like in the 5th grade before I was in the school for a full year. And then we were in probably 6 or 7 assignments across the United States. We lived in Germany and we lived in Japan for 3 years. I had my freshman year of high school in Japan, my sophomore and junior year in Dayton, Ohio, and then I moved to Virginia to graduate from Springfield High School in Virginia. So I decided that I would just come back to Ohio and go to school. So I chose to go to Bowling Green State University. And actually, I think my father had a lot to do with the two of us getting together, because he immediately said to me, I think you should be in the College of Business Administration, which was very rare back in that time, 1963. And I said, okay. And he said, I think maybe you should major in marketing and retail. And I said, well, okay. And so 4 years later, I graduated with a degree in marketing and retail and in business administration. And my parents, in the interim time, had moved to Columbus, Ohio. My father had been stationed at the depot on East Broad Street, DCSC. And so I had come here for 2 summers, and I had worked at the brand new Lazarus Northland store for those 2 summers. I interviewed with a lot of large department stores, because that's just where everybody shopped in those years, and was interested in a number of them, but I was really intrigued by the offer from F&R Lazarus and Company, and their executive development program, and director was Fred Cook, who I liked very much. So I said yes to Lazarus, and I came to Columbus, and about 3 days after I had started to work, this woman came up to me, and she brought Ron in tow, and she introduced us, and then, they said hello and so forth, and walked away. And little did I know that her job, he was at the time the only single male buyer in the store. And so her job was to introduce him to one of the new women in the executive development program that she thought he might enjoy dating. So she gave him my name and phone number, and he called me up, and as they say, the rest is history.
Oh my goodness.
Is that right?
I had no idea.
Oh, a lot of people know. But that was 54 years ago.
Oh.
And at the time, I had a girlfriend at the store. And I spent a lot of time in New York, so I had a girlfriend in New York. And we went out that Saturday night. We went to the RKO Grand. I don't know if anybody in the audience is old enough to remember. We saw Grand Prix. And Ann was living with her family on the depot, and the military, I took her home, and the military police came by every 5 or 10 minutes. It was a beautiful summer evening, and shining their light in the front seat. It was a bench seat there. We didn't have bucket seats. And anyway, so we sat and talked until about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I walked her to the door, and this arm came out. It was her father. And said, Aunt Leslie, your mother's worried sick about you. Unbeknownst to either one of us. Her mother was sound asleep. She didn't even know her daughter was out. So the next morning, I had to make 3 calls. I called my girlfriend in New York, and we didn't text then, but I somehow got in touch with the gal in Columbus. And then I called my mother and told her that I met the woman that I thought I was going to marry.
Oh my God.
So,
That's wonderful.
Well, it's still good.
It is such a good story, and it's true.
So, you want to know where I came from?
Yes, where are you from?
My story is a lot simpler. I was born in Akron, Ohio, and grew up in Kent, Ohio. Went to the university school, and then to Roosevelt High School, and then to Kent State University. Candidly, it changed my life. I was a townie. We couldn't afford to go anywhere else, so it was just a really, really wonderful experience. And I've had the privilege of being involved with Kent State in lots of ways. I was on the board for 12 years. And at any rate, that's so my story is a lot simpler. So.
But it all brought you back to Ann.
Oh yeah, it's really good too.
I love that. Well, let's
at least recognize some of your family members that are here in the audience tonight. And Ron, can you tell me about who's in the audience? And
well, we have 3 children, 3 terrific kids, married to terrific people, and we have 10 grandchildren, and all of whom live in Columbus, Ohio. So we are so lucky. And our daughter, Dara, am I supposed to do that?
Dara, you can do that.
Okay, daughter, Dara, and her husband Richard are here. And their 2 daughters, Anna and Stella, and our son Joel and his beautiful wife Jessie are here. And our daughter, I can't see anybody, but
I know, we can't see.
So, and our daughter Ellen and her husband Casey are here
Yay,
tonight. So,
wonderful. Thank you.
thank you for asking.
I added my own questions too.
You did. That's good.
Oh, no. I know. But I do have another one for you. First of all, we are honored to have a piece of art on the stage. Can you tell us a little bit about that piece? Because I think it's Derek Adams' work.
It's Derek Adams. When we bought this, and we showed this at the Pizzuti collection, and when we bought it, he was a pretty unknown commodity. And one of the style magazines in Columbus put him on the cover. You know, and we had to get extra copies to send to his mother. And at the time, he was he was not well known. Today, he is a household word in the black art community. Carol Looper came in tonight with a picture of herself in front of this work, because when she was a docent when we showed it. The Pizzuti collection. So he came, he spoke to us, he gave a great lecture, and he's a really, really solid person. Not only a good artist, but he's just a really good citizen.
Well, we are happy to have him join us on stage.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a long time. So
it's beautiful. Absolutely stunning. So, Ron, and I'm getting to you next, Ann.
No, don't worry.
You all can share in these answers, I'm sure you will. The Pizzuti companies, and I say that plural,
it is plural,
have developed over $2 billion in real estate projects nationwide. And you and Ann have collected over 2,000 works of contemporary art from all over the world. Tell us what drives your passions.
Lots of things. Profit.
In business, yes.
I like your honesty.
I'm glad. But we don't do anything. We try not to do anything halfway, and we really try not to approach anything that that we can't be passionate about. And I love seeing buildings go up. I love seeing them dig a hole, and just I even like watching other people's buildings. But we got involved in the art world quite by accident, and have become very, very passionate, as have our children and their spouses. So we're a collector, a family of collectors now. So what do you want to know about
the art world or the business world? Well, we could learn from all of it.
Well, the business, we got lots of things in this city, and we've been. I think we've done business in 19 states, and have done everything. We're primarily developers of industrial investment grade office and warehouse. When people ask someone on the street what we do, they think of Miranova or the hotels, but in reality, we've made our living building big boxes, big warehouses, all over the country. And our biggest client has been Whirlpool. And we had the opportunity to compete, and were successful in awarding the contract to build Whirlpool's national headquarters in Benton Harbor, Michigan. And if you've ever been to Benton Harbor, it's not a fun place. It wasn't. And to their credit, they could have built anywhere in the country, and they chose to stay there, where they were founded there. And it took, I think, Joel's in the audience, he can correct me, but it took 7 years. It was a 7-year project, and And it's very cool, and they regenerated a city that was on its last leg.
Wow.
But our focus started out in Columbus. It's still here. I think today Columbus is probably our strongest market again. Historically, Chicago has been the leader, and there was a time when Orlando was our best market. So, but we made a commitment years ago to alter the skyline, the downtown skyline, and Mayor Coleman's credit, he challenged everybody to build a downtown housing inventory to 10,000, and he showed a lot of vision, did a great job, and I think we helped in the beginning. We pioneered with Miranova when it was not a great site. It was contaminated, and Governor Voinovich signed the brownfields legislation on our site. And then since we built oversaw the Michael B. Coleman Government Center and Miranova and the hotel, a couple office buildings, and recently, I'm sorry?
The courthouse.
Oh, the courthouse, yes, the Common Police Courthouse. So.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us, because many people don't know that part of your portfolio, if you will.
Well, that part makes money. This doesn't, you know.
Well, let's talk about your other philanthropic ventures, and you've served on many boards in leadership roles for Nationwide Children's Hospital, Central Ohio Heart Association, Greater Columbus Arts Council, Action for Children, Columbus Junior Theater, the Y, WCAs, Columbus School for Girls, the Women's Fund, United Way. How do you possibly have time for all of that and to support this passion of collecting art? You've also raised a wonderful family. You're contributing now to the outgrowth of what the arts can do in our community. How do you balance it all?
Well, fortunately, those things have taken place over a long number of years.
Okay.
So it was not everything all at one time. And I will say, first and foremost, family always comes first. Some of my children, when they were young and small and things, and they, I tried never to have meetings at night when I would have to get a sitter or anything like that. And they were always, they and my husband have always been my priority. But I have enjoyed many of these organizations for a long time and over a long number of years. I now am at the age where I said, okay, I think I'm done being actively involved and joining more boards, except that every board you've ever served on always gets back to you. So
That's right.
You never really leave.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, they were very lucky to have you.
No.
Well, she was home every day at 3:30 when the
Wow.
kids got home, and it's made a big, big difference. And fortunately, we were able to do that. And it was, it's been, our kids have benefited, and as a family, we've benefited big time.
Yes.
As far as the art collection goes, that's really his baby.
His baby?
He is behind. I've learned a lot through the years, and I appreciate and enjoy a lot of the art, but he's really the mastermind behind that, and the one that has traveled the world and, you know, selected most of the. I maybe have selected 2 or 3 pieces.
We want to know which ones those are.
Maybe.
They're actually hanging.
They're hanging?
In the house, yes.
So let's get into that conversation about how you started collecting, Ron. So I read that you and Ann acquired your first piece of art at a gallery here in Columbus, and it was on a payment plan?
Yes, the one and only time.
The one and only time.
Like we don't finance cars. We've never financed anything we couldn't afford. So we did without a lot in the beginning. But I was in Paris on a business trip and went to this may be in the bio. I don't know so maybe everyone has already read the story, but went to a gallery, and there was a Frank Stella painting that I thought was, I didn't know anything about art. I didn't even know how to spell it at the time. And I kept staring. It was just absolutely beautiful, and I was just really intrigued with it. But it was $10,000. And those folks who know me I don't like to talk about what art costs today, but in this case, I was making $12,000 a year then, gross, and a used cutlass. So, and anyway, I came back to New York and went to the New York Public Library and looked up the artist, looked up Mr. Stella, and got intrigued with him. Several years later, I discovered that the painting was really a maquette, that it was a study drawing for a real painting that we now own, by the way, and it's hanging in our library. So that was the beginning. And then discovered that there was a gallery on East Broad Street, 1492 East Broad. It was owned and managed by Eva Glimsher, Herb and Dee Dee, Herb's mother, and Arnie Glimsher's mother. Arnie, to this day, still manages and owns one of the best galleries in the world. And everything that he showed in New York came to Columbus, Ohio, and her goal was to get good contemporary art in the hands of Columbus folks, and she was moderately successful at it. But I found a print, and it was she was like an Armenian rug dealer. She said, take this home, hang it on your wall, and if you don't like it, bring it back. Well, nobody ever brings it back once they put the nails.
Once you put it up.
So anyway, it was, and we bought this print. We still own it. It's been in our kids' houses. It's been in our offices. It's been lots of places. We'll never part with it. But we paid $900 for it, and $900 was a lot of money back then. And we paid $100 down and $100 a month. And when we got to the point where it was 50% paid off, we had the privilege of buying something else from her. And, and so for the first couple of years, they were our only dealer, and that was really a nice beginning. And I miss her. She was a good mentor for us.
So now you've grown your collection to, did I say 2,000 pieces of art, contemporary art? So I don't know. How do you manage 2,000 pieces of art?
Carefully. We have a full-time staff of 4, and we have a terrific registrar, and I think some of the staff's here tonight, in fact. And so we document everything. We keep great records. We keep museum-style records, and I find I have to go to one of them to find especially these African artists have a real difficult time remembering all the names. But we keep good records, and we build warehouses for a living, and and they're stored in an unmarked warehouse in a suburb of Columbus, Ohio.
Yes.
So
I understand that. Working at a museum, I get that. So also, being a small art collector myself, how do you choose what gets to come into the house? I mean, my husband and I don't have the same taste.
Well, Ann has veto power. So.
She has veto power, okay.
So now we hang themes, and we've got a lot of classic pieces that have been, we're in our current home, we've been there for 21 years, and some of the pieces were hung when we moved, and they're still there. And then we have one corridor that we rotate about every year, every 12, 14, 15 months. And today, that whole corridor is made up of work for Black artists. And it's all figurative work from lots of different places. Ghana, Kenya, Cuba, China. No, not that.
No.
Lots of Chinese, but not on that wall. So anyway, so we consult with each other, and we.
There have only been about 3 pieces in all these years that I've said, please don't hang that in my house. Sometimes it's just because of the subject matter or something.
But our son loved it, so it hung over his desk.
So I did hear a little story when I was walking around with Dara and Stella one day at the museum about how maybe how your children helped select pieces when they were young at the house.
They still do.
They still do?
They have, it's never done by committee.
Okay.
However, we always are willing to listen to their opinions.
Nice.
And they're all building pretty good eyes. Yeah, so.
That's nice.
And every time we traveled with them, we took them to, museums in Europe, all over the United States, etc. So they saw a lot of art also as they were growing up, and developed their taste and what they liked and so forth. So
that's wonderful.
And each of our grandchildren, their first Christmas, they are each given a piece of art from our collection.
Oh, wow.
So.
And every major event in their life. Their graduation from the 8th grade, and high school graduation, college graduation. We've got a few master's degrees now, and of course their weddings. And then now, if we ask the kids what they want for Christmas, it's always, well, you know what we want, Pop. So.
Aww. That is wonderful.
And we get to visit it.
Yes.
So it's good.
I love that. Let me skip down. I'm not sure what time it is. So let's talk about, your collection of Black artists, because you said you have a whole wall dedicated to Black artists in your home right now, and you do show work by theme. But I read that you have a collection of over 100. I think the number was at this time, 111.
It's actually 118.
Now it's 118.
Yes.
That was last week, 111. This week it's 118. But anyway, it's a lot of Black artists from around from across the African diaspora that you have collected. What, and I could name a few. We're going to actually have a benefit of seeing some work at the reception that Ann and Ron have collected that they've allowed us to present this evening at the reception. We have an example here on the stage, but I have names like Kahindi Wiley, Titus Kafar, Carol Walker, Hank Willis Thomas, Micheline Thomas, Jeff Sonhouse, and the list goes on and on. What is it that attracted you to these artists and these themes and these stories and these concepts, and why are you doing this today?
It's talent. And several years ago, I did an interview with Forbes magazine, and they asked, everybody wants to know. We get calls all the time, but lead me to something that's going to double in value next year. And my response is always the same. Buy what you like. We've been lucky. A lot of it has appreciated in value, but that's never been the impetus behind it. One of the artists you haven't named is Nick Cave.
Nick Cave. He was on my list.
Well, he is. I didn't know he was Black. And actually, Joel and Jesse own several pieces of his as well. And we gravitated toward the work. So, and out of that, and Derek Adams and some of these other folks who were became part of our collection early, we started to do more research, and then we started to look at other countries. And so at this point, we can't say that the collection is African American, because it's so much more than that. There's Ghana and Senegal and just Cuba, the Afro-Cuban community in Havana in particular is very, very, very strong. So we didn't really go out looking for Black artists. We looked for work that we liked, and as a result of seeing so much talent coming out of the Black community, then we started to do more research, and out of that came a passion. In the last 7 or 8 years, the vast majority of the works we've added to our collection have come from the Black community.
Amazing. I was looking at some of the list of people from South Africa and from Nigeria and, like you say, Cuba. The names are amazing, and then reading their stories is really fantastic. Can you share with us any stories? I know you like to do studio visits.
I like to do studio visits. We try very hard to meet the artists and to go to their studios to see how the work is made and to get to know them as well as we can. And we've been very, very lucky. And lots of de Kooning and Dubuffet and Agnes Martin and household names from the 60s and 70s. So we had the pleasure of at least meeting them, not necessarily getting to know all of them well. And within the last few years, he's become a friend, and he continues to grow, and that's half the fun of following an artist. And we like collecting in depth. Once we latch on to somebody, we'll keep going back. Don't always buy something because they always most of them have a period where the work is maybe not as desirable as it was the season before. But anyway, yes, we do. We like getting to know them. Our children have also had they do the same. Ann mentioned earlier, when we travel to this day, no matter where we go, if there's a museum there worth seeing or a gallery worth seeing, we go. And the kids, griped about it 20 years ago, and now they tell stories. We thought they kept looking around, they weren't absorbing anything. It's amazing what they retained.
Mm-hmm. Right. As you have been traveling around the world, meeting people, really delving into different cultures through the arts, what advice do you have for people who are seeking to acquire their own art collections right now?
Buy what you like, and don't worry about how much it's going to appreciate and value. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks, because if you buy what you're going to enjoy living with, hanging on your walls, stored in your warehouse, do whatever. But and it just and I go to as many galleries, museums, and just absorb, and then you'll eventually figure out where you want to be. And if you do want to become a collector, or if you are where your interest will end up, and it works. I also suggest that they go to art fairs if they can get access to an art fair anywhere in the world. It's like going to a shopping mall for art, and you get this one-stop shopping, and you get to see 200 or 300 works, sometimes 50, 60, 70 galleries at once. And then I always tell them, leave your wallet at home, because you'll until you know what it's all about, until you know where you want to be.
That's really good advice. I have a question for you, Ann, and I know that you have had a dedication to education, young people, and sharing, I guess, the quality of life across the board with people based on your philanthropy, your charitable work, and your interest in health and education really stands out. What significance do you find that art plays in furthering and advancing education, lifelong learning, diversity, cultural awareness?
Well, if as Ron has described it, you see art that has been made by a lot of different people from a lot of different places, and you end up learning a lot about those people, those places, etc. But he's really the one that knows mostly about how to educate people. All our children, like we said, they like to collect, and they always go through their dad.
Well, my favorite museum is probably two favorite museums are the National Gallery in London and the Metropolitan Museum in New York. Neither of them focus on contemporary work, but they're both encyclopedic museums, and there's a real cross section. You go to the Metropolitan Museum, you can spend 3 days there and not scratch the surface. But I love the Portrait Museum in London. and the Portrait Museum in Washington, D.C., where Obama's photo, and I think Kahindi's painting of Obama was fantastic. But it's a great way to learn history, because like the Portrait Museum in London, the works are hung, the earliest work is hung in a way that it's tied into an event in history. And so it's just a fun way to relate to what went on in the world at that time, when the work was either painted or drawn or photographed.
So what do you project for Columbus? I know that you donated, you and Ann donated the Pizzuti collection and the house that the Pizzuti collection is in to the Columbus Museum of Art, and also at least 40 plus pieces of contemporary art as part of that collection to the museum for the benefit of the public. How do you foresee this furthering your personal mission?
Well, let me tell you why we did it.
Okay.
That may help answer your question. The museum has only so much room to grow. They're limited by the size of the parcel they're on, but they're also limited by the number of dollars available. So to really, and museums like the Columbus Museum and other museums in mid-sized cities around the country all have the same problem. And our focus is on, Columbus's focus has always been on American art. But today, the most accessible art is contemporary, and contemporary is defined, the normal definition is post-World War II. My definition is post-1970, and I think that should be reevaluated, and it's probably going to be the 21st century. So for the Columbus Museum to be able to focus on and show good contemporary art, they need more space. So this, the building has 18,000 square feet, but has 16,000 square feet of gallery space. And it's going to enable the museum to show some really good works that they wouldn't have been able to show in the 480 East Broad Street building.
Well, thank you so much for that amazing gift. And it is going to help people understand. I think contemporary art is an opportunity for people to understand our present culture and where we're going in the future. So we really appreciate that from both of you. And then I have a final question. When you were asked to be recipients of the King Arts Complex Legends and Legacies Award, what did you think?
I thought of Joyce Beatty. And I thought of our co-chair, Kurt Moody, and I thought of Michael Coleman, and I thought of Denny Griffith and Demetrius. By the way, Demetrius is a rock. Working with her has been as is her staff. This is just a wonderful group of people, and we've gotten to know, including you, by the way. So by the way, my tour of Amita Robinson's tour. So I piggybacked on a tour that you were given, but I thought about, God, all the wonderful people who were honored in the past, and all the wonderful things they've done, and Joyce was the first person I thought about. Is, oh my God, we're in the same league with Joyce Beatty. By the way, she flew in from Washington today, which was really nice. So I don't know if that answers the question, but we're honored to be here, and we're honored to be part of the celebration. There's a few surprises. We get to keep these. That was the first question I asked Demetrius.
And they look so beautiful on you.
Well, Ann's wearing a dress. When COVID hit, we had to cancel our Black Artist show that was going to be all over the city. It was going to be at the museum and at CCAD and here, lots of places. And I bought that dress from well, he's known as Thelma Golden's husband. Thelma Golden is the executive director of the museum in Harlem, and she's a fantastic. She will probably run when MoMA or the Whitney change hands. My guess is that she'll be a lead candidate. But her husband is a fabric designer and a fashion designer who lives in London. His name is Duro Olu. If Michelle Scantlin is here, she will correct me on the pronunciation. But by the way, the Scantlins are building a fantastic collection.
Yes, they are.
They are just,
Yes.
they've done it quickly, and if you haven't been to the Columbus Museum to see what they've donated, there's 17 works that have gone to the museum permanently. They've been gifted, and it's worth a trip.
Yes, thanks for that plug.
So.
And your dress is beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, I just can't say enough about you two. I've gotten to know you recently, and I am warmed by your presence, by your commitment to the arts, and your commitment to our community. So thank you on behalf of the Legends and Legacies Annual Award. I want to thank you, but please, everyone, join me in a round of applause for Ann and Ron. I have to say, oh my goodness, it's such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. This is absolutely fantastic.
In our program here where we present our honorees with their awards. So we want to invite host committee co-chairs to the stage, Monica and Doug Kreidler and Elaine and Kurt Moody, to join us. Please welcome them to the stage.
Thank you again, both Ann and Ron. Doug, Monica, and I, and Elaine really appreciate being able to honor you today. One of the things I think most of us know that when there's always a number of potential candidates for this kind of award, that there is a committee that goes through, and sometimes those committees can have a number of choices. They're not sure who to favor. But Ann and Ron were just so easy, I would think of, because of what they do. And I really mean that because as an architect, art is a part of our vocabulary as well. And we know that the beauty of a building has to be endowed with other things, not only the presence of humans, but also the kind of atmosphere is created. And art is something that communicates with every kind of ethnic group around the world. And you've done a great job in bringing everything together. This award, we want to make sure that we give to this group is something that over the years, I'm fortunate to have been a past recipient, but over the years, as Ron talked about Joyce, for instance, it's the caliber of people, it's been just phenomenal. And to be able to be in the category is special. So I do want to thank everybody for this great evening, and I'm honored to be one of the event chairs, working with Doug and Monica as we co-chair this part of the event. The plaque reads, Ann and Ron have collected over 2,000 works of contemporary art from all over the world and have a special affinity for collecting the work of Black artists. When the Pizzutis invest in the work of the up-and-coming Black artists, the art world takes notice. The Pizzutis are among the top 200 collectors in the U.S. Ron built a business legacy with the Pizzuti companies, while Ann served in many leadership roles over the 50 years across the Columbus community. With a great impact in early childhood education toward their children, they raised a family of 3 children and now enjoy their grandchildren. The Pizzutis love art, and their generosity in this community is legendary. And they are an exemplary couple for the city, this state, and this country. We want to really thank you, Ann and Ron, again. It is my distinct pleasure to present the King Arts 2021 Legends and Legacy Award to Ann and Ron Pizzuti. Ron. And Ron, could you both please come to the podium? Thanks.
Well, good job. Thanks. First of all, thank all of you for being here and for your generous support of this evening. And Kurt and Elaine and Doug and Monica, thank you so much for sharing the event. I had the privilege of doing a video for Kurt last year, or 2 years ago, I guess it was. And I mentioned earlier that Demetrius is a rock, and she's just been an absolute delight, but so is her staff. And they're just this whole evening has been just a really wonderful treat for us. Who else am I had this rehearsed earlier, so who else am I supposed to? Who else am I supposed to thank? Everybody. Well, everybody that's here, of course. But you know, your moral support and your financial support, the fact that you're out here in an environment where lots of people, there are many people who are on that board who are not here this evening just because of COVID. This is a really nice surprise, but the photo of the two of us is in front. This was the cover of the program tonight, but I hope there's some dialogue in. Oh, there it is. It's up on top. Anyway, it's called Rumors of War. And Kahindi Wiley. Kahindi Wiley's the artist who painted President Obama, and it's I think a pretty special painting. I didn't like the one of Michelle because it was like a fashion spread. It was just like a big dress, but and what's called the artist painted her skin gray. So, but Rumors of War is Kahindi Wiley, who's probably, if there's if you asked who the most prominent black artist is in the world today, it's probably Kahindi Wiley will be on almost everybody's list. And this is his answer to all of the Confederate statues that are mostly in the South, and most of them have been leveled. And it's a man, a young black man on a horse with dreadlocks, with scuffed and torn jeans and scuffed and torn sneakers. But it's his answer to what's going on in our society today. And he is, we try to get him here tonight, and he's just a very busy guy. But he, about 3 years ago, he opened a studio in Senegal, and Joel, my son, and I have been planning to go there, and COVID interrupted that. But he brings artists and wannabe artists from all over the world, poets and writers, and just a cross section of artists, not all visual artists, and puts them up for 1 to 3 months, and they create work, and he helps them market their work, and he has all kinds of people there. You know, I'm rambling because I just have so much respect for this man, and was so happy when Demetrius put this on the cover of the program. So anyway, but thank you all. This has just been a wonderful evening for us, and I just appreciate all the good wishes and the fact that you're all here tonight. So thank you. Bye.
I let him speak for me tonight.
While I was waiting, I said, let me wait for Ann. Let's see if Ann's going to speak. She was quiet. Go ahead. Podium, so everybody can hear you.
She talks more than I do.
That's usually the case.
But she also promised that she would not finish my sentences tonight. So.
See, that's when you know you've been together more than 50 years. You finish the sentences, you're meant to be together, you guys are in tune. So let's give them another big round of applause for our honorees, Ann and Ron Pizzuti, tonight. Now, as we wrap up tonight's program, I want to welcome the 2017 Legends and Legacies honoree, who Ron was so happy to be in the same league tonight. So Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, please come to the stage.
First of all, let me say good evening and thank you, and it's always good to be home. But tonight is special. Tonight is special because Legends and Legacy is special to the arts community, special to the Black community, and special to special people. It is an honor for me to be on this stage with so many people in the audience who have also received this award. But tonight, giants in the art field, people who are transformative, to be able to stand on this stage and say to two good friends, Ann and Ron, who have supported this community, supported me in so many things, and to hear you, Ron, say that Joyce Beatty was what came to your mind. Let me say back to both of you, you always come to our minds. You do so much that you don't have to do. We ask you and you say yes. We call on you and you open your doors. You open your doors with a sensitivity to Black culture, and that is amazing. You could collect and do anything. You're very sensitive to the needs of our children, to our community, and that makes a difference. And to this audience, I had the great fortune to be in Italy a few years ago. And so I don't know a lot about art, and we're traveling and we're looking at the Peggy Guggenheim, and everybody is saying all these amazing artists and galleries that people waited in line for hours to get into. And as I'm sitting there leafing through a program with this renowned sculptor and artist, I see the name Ron Pizzuti. And I said, oh, I have a friend back in Columbus, Ohio with the same name. Oh, how embarrassing. And the artist and the curator looked at me and said, well, this Ron Pizzuti is from Columbus, Ohio. Where are you from, Congresswoman? And not only was his name on there, chairman of the board. You never know. He never talks about it. And I said to your daughter a few weeks ago, to redeem myself, I went over to the artist and I said, oh, I was really just joking. You know, Ron and Ann are everywhere. So he signed the program for that opening night, and we're having it framed to give to you and Ann. So tonight, you see, Ron, you didn't know that, but when I think of art, I think of you and Ann. And Ann, your dress is lovely. And I know what it's like to have a husband who buys a dress. So to everyone in the audience, that if you have a partner or a wife, you need to go buy her a dress. So let me just say I join everyone in this audience saying thank you to you. And I'll end with some words I'll paraphrase from Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes said, perhaps an artist is one who shares the beauty from within the art and the beauty within themselves. Thank you tonight for sharing the beauty of your art and the beauty within both of you. God bless you and thank you. And we have a congressional resolution for you as well.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. Let's give her another big round of applause for coming. Now we have another special congratulatory message for our honorees, so please direct your attention to the screen.
Congratulations, Ron and Ann Pizzuti, for being such great people and part of the Legends and Legacy family. We welcome and embrace you.
Ron and Ann, congratulations. Thanks for everything you do for Columbus.
Ron and Ann, it is a great pleasure to be part of this ceremony that is honoring you, your lifelong commitment to the Columbus community in so many ways, and certainly the arts and culture among them. You're like family, and it is really a gift to know you. I salute you. Mazel tov. Congratulations.
Renee and I certainly congratulate both of you, Ron and Ann, for receiving this great award. Even before this designation, I knew that you were legends, and I'm pleased to be your friend.
Congratulations, Ann and Ron. You two are a deserving couple, and I can't think of many other people at all that are in the same position you are that is a recipient of this kind of award. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ann, Ron, I am so excited for you both to be honorees of the Legends and Legacy Awards, and for the Legends and Legacy you're leaving with your family. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ann and Ron, congratulations on this honor from the King Arts Complex. Earned and deserved. Ann and Ron, thank you for your tireless work on behalf of promoting art in Columbus in general, and in particular for your deep and abiding commitment to supporting Black art, African American and African art, and artists.
Congratulations, Ron and Ann. You're so deserving of this award. We're so thrilled for you.
Congratulations, Ann and Ron. I'm so proud of you. This is so well deserved. And the United Way of Central Ohio loves you. Congratulations.
On behalf of The Ohio State University, thank you, Ron and Ann, for your partnership and friendship. And congratulations on receiving this incredible honor. You have done and continue to do so much to improve our lives with the positivity of art.
So Ann and Ron, thank you for your thirst for discovery, your discerning eyes and caring hearts, and being in pursuit of the best for us all.
Dear Ron and Ann, I can't think of anybody more deserving of the Legends and Legacy Award from the King Arts Complex than you. Your impact on this town has been legendary and is a glorious legacy that we are all blessed to have. But most of all, thank you so much for being such dear friends. I love you.
Mom and Dad, congratulations on receiving this incredible honor. I know I speak for your 2 daughters, your sons-in-law, your daughter-in-law, and your 10 grandchildren when I say we couldn't be more proud of you. Congratulations. We love you very much.
That was absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I want to thank all of you tonight for being here for this wonderful evening and sharing and congratulating our honorees, Ann and Ron Pizzuti, tonight. At this time, I'd like to welcome the very hardworking CEO of the King Arts Complex, Demetrius Neely, to the stage.
Thank you all very much. This has been a special evening. We tried doing this in 2020, remember, Ann and Ron, and pandemic happened. So we didn't know we would even get to do it this year, but it happened, and we're so thrilled. When we were looking for a venue to host this event, we had several options, and we came to the Lincoln Theater, and I'm so grateful that we could afford to rent it, and they were available to us. So thank you to Jamal and to Susan and their staff. They did a fabulous job. This is a beautiful venue. We also want to recognize all those who were on the program tonight. Mayor Ginther, a great mayor of our great city, always supports the King Arts Complex. Congresswoman Beatty, my goodness. I can't say enough about her and her support for so many decades, and we will always, always miss the late Otto Beatty. Yolanda and Deidre, great job. You punctuated this program in ways that we could not have, so thank you so much. The Pizzutis are wearing kente stoles tonight, and kente is tied to our African traditions. In the Ghanaian tradition, kente is worn at times of great importance. And so we had a master weaver from Ghana weave those kentes especially for them. And tonight is a night of great importance, and so they've worn them quite beautifully. We in the Black community have been saying for years, Black Lives Matter. And we declare it, and we try to convince people, it seems sometimes. But then there are those like Ann and Ron Pizzuti who have always shown us that they know Black Lives Matter. You've shown us through your treasure, your time, and your investment. Thank you so much. We will forever honor you, and you are the perfect Legends and Legacy honorees. If you are leaving us tonight, drive safely, but if you can stay for just a few minutes to join us in the ballroom for the reception, I know the Pizzutis would be thrilled, and we would be pleased as well. But if you have to leave right now and you're driving home, drive safely, and we will see you next year at the 15th Annual Legends and Legacies Award Ceremony. Thank you, and be well.